Number 7 says, film yourself explaining how a male can still ejaculate even after receiving a vasectomy, and include in your discussion the specific structures that would contribute and would not contribute to this formation of this ejaculate. So, in the process of a vasectomy, this is where a urologist will go through the scrotum, they'll make a small incision through the scrotum, and they will take the vas deferens or the ductus deferens, and they will either cauterize, cut, or tie the vas deferens tube so it isn't able to transport any viable sperm from the testes, from the epididymis, through the ejaculatory process, because it is a permanent birth control solution. So in the process of this, when we are mentioning the vas deferens, we're talking about this tube-like structure that meets the epididymis and the testes. But if we were to cauterize it during a vasectomy, that would just mean that it is not part of the ejaculatory process any longer, since there is no viable sperm that is able to be transported. But as for the regular structure, for the rest of the structure, we still have this ampulla duct that holds viable sperm for 1 to 3 months after. So this is still involved in the ejaculatory process based on the time frame. So again, 1 to 3 months, it still holds that viable sperm in it. As for the structure next to it, we have what's called the seminal vesicles or the seminal gland, and that meets with the ejaculatory duct. But the seminal glands or the seminal vesicles in the prostate, they create something called seminal fluid or semen. And this doesn't necessarily need to include sperm in it. So that's why when the vas deferens are cauterized, you are still able to ejaculate. It just won't hold any viable sperm in it. It just is the seminal fluid that is created by the seminal gland and the prostate. So the seminal gland and the prostate are still involved in the process of the ejaculatory process. And as well as this gland over here, the Cooper's gland, since it does contribute to pre-ejaculate, so it can cleanse out the urethra. And since we weren't given pre-ejaculate or ejaculate, I would still consider that it is still part of the process since it isn't affected by the surgery or the vasectomy. So we have this process over here, this structure over here, and then the urethra is still not affected, and that's how the seminal fluid is able to meet with the ejaculatory duct and outside the penis through the urethra. So the urethra, the Cooper's gland, the prostate, the seminal gland, the ampulla duct for a set amount of time is still involved with the ejaculatory process. And the only structures that are not involved in this process is the vas deferens that are cauterized, the epididymis, and the testes, and of course the sperm as a result.